You and I both have been waving people off polls for the past year of highly hypothetical polls, entirely of registered voters, by the way, pretty much no likely voter polls last year, which are a higher quality poll. Now that we're in the campaign year, there are polls I'm willing to look at in certain situations. The Globe, Suffolk University, polling New Hampshire in January, when voters are really actively thinking about this, seems to me worth looking at.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, these are informed voters. There are ads running. They have to make decisions on what they're going to do, unlike many of the voters in the country who have lots of time before they have to make up their mind and are really checked out, right? But in New Hampshire, they're checked in. And that poll is very encouraging. And we've seen it. You know, the big poll that I think didn't get enough attention was the New York Times poll, which kind of freaked everybody out back in October. Did an update in mid-December that showed Biden ahead by 2 points among likely voters and substantially in better shape than their poll earlier in the fall. So, look, a majority of the independent polls taken since Thanksgiving have Biden tied or ahead. Trump is not winning in this election. And, you know, it's still very early. So I feel good about where we are. We got work to do, no question, Lawrence. But I think Democrats should be optimistic about what we're going to be able to do in 2024.
And, you know, I always look to you for guidance about how to watch what's coming. What would should we be watching in Iowa and in New Hampshire as we think about November? Because what happens now is not what is going to happen in November. We always need to be thinking about November.
Yeah, I think there are two things in our politics now that are being overly discounted by the commentariat right now. One is the strength of the Democratic Party in election after election, going back since Dobbs in the spring of 2022. We just keep winning everywhere. We keep outperforming expectations everywhere in all kinds of races. That's really good for us and really bad for them. And to me, it's the most important electoral data that really exists today. The second thing that I think is being overly discounted is Trump's awfulness. I think that, you know, right now, you spent most of the show talking about the legal machinations, but we need to start to move this into the political dimension, not into just the legal dimension. And for example, what we already know, that's already happened, we know from polling, when people are asked if he's committed crimes, will it change your vote? He loses substantial support in every poll that's been taken that starts to ask these questions. And look what he's already done, Lawrence. I mean, let's get into the reality of where we already are. A court has already determined that he committed insurrection against the United States. A court has already determined that he committed sexual assault against a woman in a dressing room in a department store. A court has already determined that he committed massive fraud. These things are already known. And I think that when you look at all the terribles and the awfuls and we start introducing them to voters, this guy's going to have a very, very hard time winning the election in November.